Alan has been with Good News almost 5 years, and he has been with us a couple times before, so we're glad to have him back. So I'll let Alan present the work of Good News.
Thank you, Rhonda. Good morning. How are you doing today? Very good, very good. So I want to start with a few questions. Just want to test you guys a little bit. So Rhonda mentioned that I work for this organization called GMPI. So who can tell me, besides Rhonda, I don't want you to answer the question, who can tell me what does GMPI stand for? Good News Productions. Great job. Good News Productions International. Second question I want to ask, do you remember who started this ministry? Zaiden Nutt. Great job, great job. And the last question, this might be a little bit challenging. So do you remember when did this ministry start in Joplin, Missouri? 1989. No, way before that. 70s. Yeah, in the 70s. So I will give you an answer on our official document. It's 1975 when the ministry started. And in 1976, that's when we officially had a building built, and that's when the official date, like October 28th, that's when the ministry started. So 3 questions. Good job. You guys did great. Yeah. So I want you to go to the next slide, if you want to show the next slide. So instead of telling you the story, I want to tell you why Zaiden started this ministry. I want to tell you why. The why we started Good News Productions International, why Zaiden decided to go to the country of Rhodesia back then. It's because Jesus gave us a mission. Yeah. Who can tell me what mission is this? What mission that Jesus gave to us? Preach the gospel. Make disciples. Because of that mission, Zaiden went to the country of Rhodesia, started evangelizing, started making disciples for Jesus there. After a few years, and he started trying some new methods and started showing some film strips to the people. And then the technology attracted a lot of people come to watch, but problem also came, like people didn't understand the culture element of the videos that he showed that produced in America. So, and in order to find a better way to do that, Zaiden actually started a studio in the country of Rhodesia. And people started producing media in their own language, in their own culture, and also present Christ in the most relevant way. Yeah. Please go to the next slide. I want you to remember when you talk about the ministry of Good News Productions International, or GMPI, I want you to remember this is everything we do. We create media, we share Jesus. Fair enough? Very easy to remember. Create media, share Jesus. That's all we do. That's when Zaiden started the studio in Rhodesia. That's what he did. And I want to remind you the story why they moved all the way from Rhodesia back to America. I think every time I tell this story, I got very inspired. So I want to tell you briefly about this story. So the ministry was doing really well. People being baptized, and Zaiden was preaching and teaching and also helping building some hospitals there. Just people love the ministry there. But Zaiden had a special need daughter. So because of the medical needs, that the family had to leave the country of Rhodesia and move back to the United States. And Zaiden can tell you personally, he said, he was devastated. He said, "Why, Lord, I'm doing so good here. People are being saved. Isn't that why you sent me to this country? Why now you want me to go back to the United States?" So they came back to the United States just for medical treatment for their daughter Linda. And because of the location of the Bible college and some strong churches in the Joplin area, this ministry actually took off. And we have received requests from different countries, like from Thailand, from different countries, like come to show us how to produce media the way that you did, that makes sense for the people in that culture. So I want to point out, sometimes in life, we see as a setback, but we didn't realize God has a bigger plan. So if that's you today, if you think, okay, really, this season really hit me really hard, and I feel like I got to step back, think about Zaiden's story. The ministry actually took off in America. If he decided to stay in Rhodesia, I'm sure, like, the ministry will continue to do really well. But I don't think the ministry will have the impact that we have today. So I will quote a singer that my wife and I, we love, a band called the Building 429. Have you ever heard about that band, Building 429? Okay. So the lead singer, Jason Roy, said this: a setback is actually a setup for God to do something greater in you. And I see that in Zaiden's story. And I see that in my story too. And if I ask you, maybe you see that as well. So remember that when you see a setback in our own perspective, but in God's eyes, in God's perspective, it's got to say, hey, I want to do something extraordinary in the setback you think you're in. So take courage if that's you. That's the first thing. I just kind of off track a little bit. You can go to the next slide. Like, okay, Alan, you told us that GMPI is all about creating media and sharing Jesus. Okay, we got it. But what kind of media do you guys create? Okay, we create relevant media. Why that is so important? Why media has to be relevant? Because number one, we have all type of different cultures around the world. We have different languages around the world. Not everybody speaks English. You know, if you broadcast the English sermon, a lot of people probably won't understand. They need a translator. A lot of people won't understand why we do things this way in America. Culturally, they won't understand. We create culturally relevant media. And you may ask, hey, there are all kinds of media, but what type of media GMPI is producing, is creating? I can tell you this, from 90 seconds long videos to 90 minutes long video. Anything between that is the length of videos that we produce. And you will find seminars, you will find sermons, you will find kids videos, you will find lectures, you will find just in some funny way and to present a biblical truth, all kinds of medias. That's what we produce. And then all the media, what we do with those media, we proclaim the good news of Jesus Christ. We don't promote us. We don't promote Good News Productions International. We proclaim the good news of Jesus Christ, because that's the power. People will get changed. Yeah. And then we also use those videos and to empower Christian leaders in that culture, so they can go and then share with their local people in that language and make sense in that culture. So I want you to remember, besides remembering creating media, sharing Jesus, I want you to remember create, proclaim, and empower. That's what we do as a ministry. Okay? You can go to the next slide. Some of you probably have heard about a tool that GMPI has been sending out to the missions field for a long time, since the 80s. It's called the Solar Kit. The Solar Kit. How many of you have heard about that? Solar Kit, yeah. I can tell you today, this tool is remain very powerful. Let me just tell you a story. The lady you see on the picture, her name is Peggy Cable. That she is a missionary in the country of Uganda. And a few years back, we actually gave her a solar kit, and then to let her to take it to the missions field. And in her own word, she said, that is a tool opened so many doors for me. That is a tool that opened so many doors for me. People are amazed. Like, where the pictures are coming from? Just from a very tiny little projector. So that's helped her, that shared the gospel in the villages that it's really hard to get to, in the countries that we might never visit. But because of this tool, Peggy were able to share the gospel so effectively in that culture. I want you to pay attention of that dueling. So, do you guys still remember the 3 words that I asked you to remember? Yes? Only David remember? Do you remember the 3 words that I said, hey, remember when you think about the ministry of GMPI, I want you to, besides creating media, sharing Jesus, I want you to remember 3 words. Create, proclaim, the second one, and then empower. I want you to pay attention to that dueling. So the program on the screen is the media that were created. In that language, makes sense in that culture. And that media, that video is about the good news of Jesus. And then we empowered people like Peggy, who is a church leader or an evangelist or missionary, that in this picture, you see everything we do. We create culturally relevant media. We proclaim the good news. We empower Christian leaders to do that. That's what we do. Next slide, please. Sometimes, proclaim good news can look like this. Do you like that? I love this picture. Everywhere I go, I will share this picture. Sometimes you have a white wall, you can project the picture, but sometimes you don't, and you have to think creatively. Next one. Of course, everything I showed you was before COVID. If I still talking about everything like COVID never happened, that is not culturally relevant here. You will agree, right? But now, today, the main point, the main part of my presentation, I want to tell you how GMPI is being culturally relevant in today's time. Even though missionaries cannot travel, they're limited to travel. Churches cannot gather. Moved everything online, right? But GMPI still uses all type of media to share the good news of Jesus Christ everywhere. The internet was not cut, right? So I just want to let you know that your investment in GMPI in this season is so vital. COVID-19 is so bad. A lot of people are hurting. But on the other side, GMPI's ministry has been booming. Remember what I told you? That in our point of view, it's a setback. But God said, no. I want to show you why this is happening. And I will tell you some stories. Go to the next slide, please. This church moved online, right? I believe, right? Same thing happened in India. A church of about 1,000 every week. People will come into the building to listen to Dr. Ajay Lal to preach a sermon. We moved everything online for them because we have a team in India can do that. We help that church. And the results we hear are remarkable. We hear the numbers are like more than 1,000. Like you probably know from your own experience, like you will see, well, we don't have so many people in the building. Why we have so many views of the church service? Because other people are checking this church out. Because other people who are seekers want to learn about Jesus. I want you go to the next slide. I want you to hear from our friend David Law what he said. Is there sound for this?
Is reaching about 800,000 now. That's a big, big number. And the reason is that there are thousands of churches in India, hundreds of thousands of churches, and they cannot produce an online church service. And so they are looking for some good services. It's on all kind of social media, but also on cable television in several cities. Subh Sandesh, which actually Subh Sandesh means good news channel. It has nothing to do with us, but so praise God for that.
Amen.
So that was from a Zoom call we had back in July. And David Law said, did you catch that number? Did you catch that number, that how many views that they have? 800,000. 800,000. A church, like 1,000 people in the building, boom, 800,000. So I know the number is, we see all the views, and then sometimes, when you watch a church service, you have your family with you, right? So we kind of multiplied that number, and we got this number, 800,000. Next one. In the country of the Philippines, that we have a program called Asakapa. That's a language in Telugu, meaning that hope matters too. Kind of just share hope with everybody, like a daily devotion, like 5 to 7 minutes on their Facebook. And since everything has shut down in the country of the Philippines, and the pastor that helped us with this program for many, many years, Pastor Jebel, and he was stuck at home. But the program has to go on. So who helped him is his daughter, 9 years old, Bia. Helped her daddy to say, hey, Daddy, I think you need to do that again. Daddy, I think, hey, you could do better this time, or don't forget the word. So that's his 9-year-old daughter, Bia, helped him. And the program usually have about, 20,000 views on Facebook. And one particular episode, when Pastor Jebel talked about how Christians have to live during this season, and got 175,000 views on Facebook. Next slide. In Southeast Asia, I cannot tell you the name of the country. I want to protect them. In Southeast Asia, because everything moved online, and we found some seekers actually want to be baptized. As soon as they were able to meet in a small group setting, that's the picture show you. Then when they said a prayer and they want to be baptized. So actually, a church was birthed from the video that they saw on social media. Yeah, church planning is also happening. Next slide. Hakayat is Arabic, means stories. So basically means stories for kids. In the Middle East, there are a lot of believers actually in the Middle East. You'll be amazed to see how the church in Egypt is doing so well. Our partner Hatem actually did a project called the Jesus Story, and in different language, Arabic, Farsi, Turkish, all the major languages spoken in the Middle East. And during this quarantine time, all the churches have shut down. They couldn't go into the church. A lot of new believers, they have kids. They want to educate their kids about Jesus, but they heavily rely on the church to provide children programs. So when everything shut down, they don't know where to go. So our partner, who was the anchor person for Jesus Story, actually moved everything online. So basically, him and his wife just doing some teaching, how to tell the kids about the story of Jesus, and also help their parents to educate the kids. And they just opened up their Facebook Live. They were doing some teaching in their living room, just invite everybody to watch on Facebook. And during this time, 4,000 Muslim families, after they become Christians, were taught how to educate their kids. And the picture you saw is that a kid actually, after hearing an episode, what they have taught last week, and say, hey, I want you to sing a song to praise Jesus. And that's a picture of this little girl singing a song and send it back to our friend there. So I don't have a video there, but this is a screenshot I got. Yeah. Next one, please. You will agree with me, during this time, a lot of people are spiritually humbled. A lot of people began to ask questions, really, is there a God? Like, if there's a God, what is his purpose for me here? So a lot of people are actually opened to ask questions like that. And our team in Mexico actually started filming some very high-quality videos. Just want to explain, there is a God. And I want to show you two pictures you saw on the screen. The first episode, they wanted to explain there is God. So they need to film some really cool, awesome views, like nature, and to show the power, the majesty of our Lord. So they actually hired a climbing coach for them to go to some really remote areas to get some really cool footage. I want to show you a video. It's about 3 minutes long. It's in Spanish. I know if you don't understand Spanish, that's fine. Me either. I want to show you the quality, and I want to show you the shots that they got. I think it's pretty amazing. Please.
Cuando veo tus cielos, obra de tus dedos, la luna y las estrellas que tú formaste, digo, ¿qué es el hombre para que tengas de él memoria? ¿Y el Hijo del Hombre para que le visites? Le has hecho poco menor que los ángeles, y lo coronaste de gloria y de honra. Le hiciste señorear sobre las obras de tus manos, todo lo pusiste debajo de sus pies. ¿Quién se tomó el tiempo de diseñar cada órgano, cada célula, cada parte que está dentro de mi cuerpo y darle una función en específico para que pudiera funcionar? Tú creaste mis entrañas, me formaste en el vientre de mi madre. Te alabo porque soy una creación admirable. Tus obras son maravillosas y esto lo sé muy bien. Porque somos hechura de Dios, creados en Cristo Jesús para buenas obras, las cuales Dios dispuso de antemano a fin de que las pongamos en práctica. ¿Acaso no hemos hecho buenas obras alguna vez? ¿No hemos brindado la mano a alguien que lo necesite? ¿No hemos sentido ese deseo dentro de nosotros de hacer alguna acción buena? ¿Por qué sentimos eso? Porque Dios habita en nosotros. Él nos creó y por lo tanto tenemos algo de Él en nuestro interior. No se trata de sentimientos o emociones. Es el Espíritu que quiere actuar dentro de ti. Y dijo, hagamos al ser humano a nuestra imagen y semejanza, que tenga dominio sobre los peces del mar y sobre las aves del cielo, sobre los animales domésticos, sobre los animales salvajes y sobre todos los reptiles que se arrastran por el suelo. ¿Acaso no cumplimos con todas estas cosas? ¿Tener dominio sobre cada especie que Dios menciona en su palabra? ¿Cuántas pruebas más necesitamos para poder confirmar que Dios es real? ¿Cuánto tiempo más vamos a seguir negando lo que es innegable? Dios se presenta en todo, en cada buena acción, en cada oración, en cada palabra en la Biblia. Esa es su naturaleza, estar con nosotros siempre, todos los días. Él nos acompaña de día y de noche, en los mejores momentos y en los peores. Él siempre está ahí. Lo puedo conocer, lo puedo sentir, lo puedo vivir. Quizá la gente me critique por creer en algo que no puedo ver, pero mi fe es más grande que las montañas. Y yo sé que Dios está conmigo, y yo sé que Dios me cuida, y yo sé que Dios camina conmigo, y yo sé que Dios va a cumplir su promesa conmigo. ¿Existe un Dios? ¿Cuál es su esencia? Nuestro Creador es tan superior a nosotros que no podemos ni siquiera imaginar el aspecto que tiene. Pero si de algo estoy seguro, es que tú y yo somos parte de su creación. Él puso en nosotros parte de su esencia y tenemos un propósito que cumplir.
Even though you didn't understand the language, but I hope you got the idea. I mean, when you see the creation so beautiful, how can you deny God? So, first week of this video published on their Facebook, 20,000 people viewed that video. And I want you to remember a name. His name is Edward. After watching this video, he reached out to our center in Mexico and started asking questions about God. And we have been praying for him. I want you to pray for Edward as well. That's the power of culturally relevant media. And why we do that? We proclaim the good news of Jesus Christ has the power to change lives. That's why we do what we do. And we are so thankful for your support. Go to the next slide, please. You will recognize Mike, our president there. Since COVID hit, in Joplin, we started interview people from different walks of lives and just simply ask a question, how are you using your faith conquer the fear everybody is feeling right now? After 50 episodes, thousands of people have viewed that program. If you want to watch it, go to our website, go to our Facebook page, you can watch them. And just provide some encouragement to a culture that really being troubled during this season. So that's the power of culturally relevant media. We also, we share the faith and we proclaim the good news. Yeah, that's what we have been doing in the office of Joplin. Next slide. I want to say thanks to all of you. Because this church, I mentioned to Rhonda, I mentioned to David, this church has been supporting us for 43 years. You guys are amazing. None of the years stopped. I'm talking about 43 consecutive years. Like you have invested $150,000 in GMPI. And what you did is not investing in GMPI, you're actually investing in the kingdom of God. So thank you. I also want to give you, a lot of business people will care about ROI, return of investment. I can give you a number. $1 you invested in GMPI allows 43 people to hear the gospel. And that is before COVID. And I can tell you, we don't have a number at this point, but I can tell you it can be 100. It can be 1,000. We don't know. But that's the survey we did back in 2018. $1 you invested in GMPI allows 43 people to hear a message that proclaims the good news has the power to change their life. So I think I have a video from Mike. It's our latest update video. I want you to watch that one.
Hi, I'm Mike here in Joplin, Missouri with GMPI. Imagine with me for a moment that you're the son of a Montana wheat farmer and you've just gotten word that your dad and the next door neighbor had a serious truck accident and you have got to plant not just your farm, but the neighbor's farm. You've got a lot of work doing some abundant seed sowing, right? Well, here at GMPI, since the pandemic, we have been in that kind of metaphor, planting lots of seed. Can I tell you just a couple of examples? Number one, in Southeast Asia, they created not one, not three, but 5 Facebook accounts in various vernacular languages. You go, well, big deal. It is a big deal because in that country, there is not that much access always to God's words. And here they are having it in their heart with productions we're doing that culturally resonate, and they're having on average 20,000 regular viewers of their material. That is abundant seed sowing. Back here in Joplin, since the pandemic started in March, we pivoted and began to have a webisode series or whatever that we call Faith, Greater Than Fear. And we've interviewed all kinds of people. Well, we just reached not 10, not 30, but 50 episodes. And just the other day, I was speaking with a missions committee that said, Mike, number 47 was your best yet. We really had that speak to our hearts. But can I, for a moment, just tell you about one person? Because that's an important seed planting too. In Ukraine, in a prison where there's people serving life without parole for something they have done, our director there got permission to get their material in his heart language inside that prison cell for that gentleman. So whether it's planting like a Montana wheat field, 20,000 seeds, or whether it's 50 episodes of people watching hundreds or thousands at a time, or whether it's just one with a life sentence in Ukraine, you're planting seed, you're making a difference, and that's what we're doing together. And so from all of us here, India, Southeast Asia, or Ukraine, we want to thank you, and God bless you, and have a great day.
I want you to hear from Mike because I want him to tell you that all the numbers I mentioned, it is a big deal because we realize that we have been sowing seeds during this season. And I believe one day we will see the results. We'll see the results. I want to end with an invitation. So everything moved on virtual, right? So we invite you to, on October 29th at 6 p.m., to go to our Facebook or go to our virtual event project page, gmpi.org/45, because we are celebrating our 45-year anniversary, and we want you to be there.
Tell them that we will repost that information.
Okay, awesome. So David just told me that he will tell the church all about it too during that time. So we would love you to turn in to celebrate with us, to celebrate together what you have done through GMPI for the past 43 years, 45-year anniversary for GMPI. You also find some, it's a birthday party. If you want to take some gifts, that we'll have a registry ready on the website. Maybe you can sponsor a solar kit. That's $1,000. Maybe you can give $20 to reach about 1,000 people. So just bring something, and also but most importantly, I want you guys to celebrate with us. All right, next one. That's also an event that you will see a brand new global music video. It's this, I think it's him, everybody knows about it. Why we choose this video? Why we choose this song? Because we want to show that, we, from different language, different culture, different country, we worship the same God. And also because of his power that we can do what we do. Because of his power, people's lives are being changed. It's not about us. Someone told me when I first started this job, he said, the works are ours, but the result is the Lord's. That's why we want to review a global music video, and I hope you can see that day. All right, I believe this is the last slide I have, and I think time is up too. All right, thank you so much for coming ahead of time. I know usually you guys don't meet for Sunday school, but hopefully the time we spent together for the last 40 minutes were informative, and also encouraging to all of you.